Let's bring in Sky News contributor Kosha Gator. Kosha, there is a cultural shift happening in the US. We're seeing a move away, even in these commercials that are so typically woke. The whole fat positivity thing seems to be forgotten, and we're getting back to objective standards of beauty.
It does sound like the pendulum finally might be swinging back. We're at this tipping point. I think it all goes back to November and Trump coming back with a bang and, winning everything, including the popular vote, which tells you what the sentiment is publicly. Then I would put Colbert's cancellation and Rosie and Ellen and everybody leaving the country as one measure. And then this ad. And what will be very interesting is to see what happens to Sydney Sweeney's career from here. Now that she's been outed as a registered Republican, will Hollywood casting folk try to cancel her or not? And if they don't, and she continues to land roles or modeling gigs, then I think for sure we can say that the moment has arrived and all that woke stuff is thankfully in the past.
Now, American Eagle is certainly benefiting from this controversy. They're seeing their share price go up, a lot of interest in their products. Let's look at Dunkin Donuts' latest ad. They're hoping for a similar outcome.
I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer. Literally. I can't help it.
Maybe because it's a man, it hasn't caused as much controversy, but it still caused quite a bit of a stir, and it's got that trigger word genetics in there.
So funny, and he's a young actor from a TV show, and so they're casting somebody and using that trigger word, which is what it is. It's interesting from a creative decision perspective. It's not that original, given the other agency just use that same word. But to the point that we're making about this continuum that we're on, it's interesting, and there's almost a divergence because you have the Bud Light fiasco, you have the Jaguar ad, which totally was panned just a week ago, and stock is falling, shares are falling, sales are falling, and then on this side, American Eagle is ascendant. Not for maybe fundamental reasons, but certainly the market seems to be rewarding them in the past couple of weeks. And so other brands like Dunkin Donuts are looking at those two and deciding to be on this side of the ledger and not along with Bud Light.
Who knows? Maybe they came up with that first. I mean, just because we've looked at it second doesn't mean the creatives, they may have been first. Now, let's get to the serious stuff. The Democrats, including senior Democrats like Elizabeth Warren, are getting behind Zoran Mamdani. They think the party needs to lurch further left.
Progressive social. Is this what the party should look like?
Yes.
The Democratic Party move.
You bet. The Democratic Party needs to stand up and be clear. We are the party that fights for affordability for working families. That means child care. That means housing. It means health care. It means making this country work better for the working people who make this country work.
All right, last question.
I get a little excited about this. Okay. All right.
There you go. Pocahontas is all excited. Kosha, he's not a fringe dweller in the Democrats anymore, and in many ways he's representative of the modern Democrats.
He is. Now, this socialist strain has long been present in the Democrat Party and in the left wing of politics everywhere. But what's interesting here is when it used to just be about, working class and using the collective as a way to redistribute wealth and all of that, he's got that. At least he's touting those policies, as does Elizabeth Warren. But then he's this mishmash of trans rights and intifada and racial justice and all that stuff rolled in together, which is different from what it used to be. But I think the problem is the root issue here is economic inequality is on the rise. Young people can't get a foothold in the economy with housing and jobs and all of that. So there's a lot of frustration, and there are two very high contrasting positions being presented by both sides. For the right, it's low taxes, no tax on tips, stopping illegal immigration, which competes in the job market, et cetera. And on the left, though, you've got this stuff about handing out free things and making the big, bad, evil, rich people pay.
His supporter base, certainly from what we've seen of the data, is affluent. He had more support amongst those affluent voters who you would think would be looking at his policy proposals and going, this isn't in our interest. But perhaps it is in their interest because they know how this game works.
And it's the virtue signaling. So the affluent people can afford the luxury belief because even with a bad economy, they're doing fine and they get to signal their virtue. He himself is one of those elites. He comes from a very rich background with both of his parents. So he's sort of a champagne socialist, as they say.